What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua states that win, lose, or draw, Andy Ruiz will not affect his legacy. So he was being interviewed today, or should I say yesterday, and he was stating that if he loses to Andy Ruiz, that won't stop him from continuing his career. He intends to fight from 5 to 7 years left in his career. Because remember, he's only been fighting for around 5. I think this may be the 6th year. So to be fair, it's 6. So he also stated that it's hard to get sparring partners. And this is not a make him or break him fight for him. And he can come back if he does lose to Andy Ruiz. Now, what I say about this is, overall, if you look at these two fights, you had a lot of fighters that got beat by the same person because the style made the fight difficult, or made the fight a success for one and a defeat for the other because of the styles. They matched up totally wrong. You got someone like Anthony Joshua, 6'6", 250 pounds, versus someone that's 6 foot, 250 pounds. You know, we learned from the Povetkin fight that he had problems with shorter guys. A lot of people have problems with shorter guys. They're lower to the ground, they're harder to hit. You know, they're not tall. You know, they make their target small, okay? And they're difficult to hit. And if he loses to Andy Ruiz, to me, first of all, it's how he loses. Does it go 12 rounds in a, lopsided victory or a split decision or something like that? And what if that happens? What if it's a close fight? Do they run it back? There's a lot of things that could be involved in this next fight. And make no mistake about it, this next fight is the biggest fight of the year. Okay? Next December on the 7th, that fight will be the biggest. But that's for this year, though. That's not the biggest fight of this next 10 years. Okay? So if Anthony Joshua loses, he has to build himself back up. He has to fight the best guys. He has to do what it takes. Maybe he will take some advice and take some tune-up fights. Who knows? But since his rapid success in his career and the way the progression was just pushed along, they may need to do that. But can he bounce back from that? Of course he can. There's a lot of fighters, again, that has bounced back. I think a lot of people put the more emphasis on Anthony Joshua because he was the first one out of that big three to lose. When these other fighters start losing, when these other fighters that were considered the top fighters start getting defeated it won't look as bad. It will even out. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people look at it like, oh man, Joshua got beat. Yeah, Joshua got beat, and the significance of that is, first of all, who he got beat from. Second of all, he was the first to get beat out of those three. So by default, a lot of people with the casual mindset think, oh, well, you know what? He surely can't beat Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. But how do you know? Because he's never fought them. Okay, so something along the lines where all the smoke is cleared, people are still going to have to fight each other, win, lose, or draw. But you know what will make those fights easier? When these fighters start losing, when these fighters get defeated. Think about this. What if Tyson Fury defeats Deontay Wilder? Okay, Deontay Wilder will be humbled. Same thing for Fury. What if Deontay Wilder knocks out Fury? Okay, well, Fury then will be humbled. Okay, so these fights will happen. And make no mistake about it. These guys will lose somewhere down the line. Not everyone can be Mayweather unless they just follow that to the T and make sure that they've crossed every T and dotted every I. Because if not, if they're going in there and fighting legitimate top 10 fighters, that's bound to happen. Okay. So in reference to Joshua, Joshua takes his second loss, and these guys are taking their second mark, really. Somebody has to take their second mark. They're either going to have a draw and a loss this time, or a or a win, but someone's going to lose between Fury and Deontay Wilder. See, these egos and these undefeated records are the reason why these fights are not happening, on top of the networks and yada, yada, yada. But when people start losing, they start seeing a different picture. They start saying like, hey, I've actually took a loss. What's the best thing for me now? Oh, shit. Okay, Anthony Joshua, I could fight him. Even if Anthony Joshua loses, one of those guys still have to be beaten. They have to be defeated. So if Joshua's sitting over there with his reclaimed belts, somebody still has to come see that man, unless it goes back to square zero when nobody really wants to risk fighting him because he's been beaten once upon a time. That could happen, but these guys eventually have to fight each other. So I'll be glad when that day comes. So we'll get this all, smoothed out. So we'll see what really happens in these fights. But yeah, I think Joshua can come back after that. Will he be as big as he once was? Probably not, but then who knows? Because if you look at Pacquiao and the attitude Pacquiao had and the way the country loved Pacquiao and what he did for his country and the support he gave his country, they're going to back him to the day he dies. You see what I'm saying? Do you think Anthony Joshua is any different? Do you think the UK doesn't love Anthony Joshua? As long as he keeps fighting, keeps the same attitude, keeps the same mannerisms, and then the weird thing about that is if he takes a defeat, he will still be one of the highest paid fighters in the sport. You know what I mean? Why? Because the attitude didn't do anything or didn't do a disservice or the loss didn't do a disservice to him because his attitude is his character. Okay. He was talking a little bit about that on a video of his, but it's true. Those people from the UK love Anthony Joshua simply because of his attitude and the way he carries himself. So yes, someone like Anthony Joshua, sure, he can bounce back. He can come back. Now, if he quits, then people they will question his heart. No doubt about it. You know what I mean? And they have every right to. But if he keeps fighting after he gets beat by Ruiz, we still have to see what he does with the rest of his career, year after year, fight after fight. So that's my counterpunch on Anthony Joshua's statements. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.